Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your boy Gerald. It is Friday, December 16th, 2016. How is everybody doing? You know, at first I wasn't going to put a video out because I ain't got to tell you, I've been very active uh, these last couple months. And I started my day early. I had some errands I had to take care of. And like some of you, that's when you find yourself in deep thought. You also find yourself tapping into your insight because you are at one with yourself. So I'm out here doing my little errands, and on the way home, I had my fog light went out on my Jeep. Now, I ain't got to tell you, you got responsibilities through your day to day and what's going on. You've got the holiday shopping going on. Shout out to those that are making the time out there to show support and spending your hard-earned money to buy gifts. But just don't get caught up in that because the greatest gift is you. Okay? You can't go to the store and get another you. It's you, your time. And, don't lose sight of that, because, materialism is one thing, but we all know you can't take it with you. That's why memories are priceless. So, I was doing my errands. Fog light went out. And it dawned on me that I have my inspection due by the end of this month. And it never fails. When it's time for you to get your vehicle inspected, they're waiting to make money off of you. That's how that garage guy, that mechanic makes his dough, So I was on it, paid $30 for a light bulb, just the bulb, $30. And when I was coming back, as some of you may have already seen, I've released my first video on my other channel called Journey of a Man. And if you guys didn't see the video, that channel is going to be chronicalizing my physical transformation. That's right. I'm going to be in the gym. And this has been a fear underlining. This is something I hadn't told nobody because I know who I am and I know my comfort zones. But that was when it comes to working out and exercising, being in tune with your body, that is a guilty pleasure for me. And it had been over 3 years that I actually stepped away from the gym. Now, I'm in pretty good shape, regardless of you seeing me drinking my coffee and smoking my cigarettes. Like, you're going to see me smoke a cigarette in a minute. But the truth of the matter, I want to go back. I want to tap back into who I really am. And some of y'all might not know, I'm in my late 40s. Yeah, I am. And whole mindset, people think, well, I'm in my 40s, I can't do that. That's a bunch of BS. You can do anything you put your mind to. It might take you longer, but you'll get to that destination. And I'm gonna prove that theory wrong. Because another thing that I used to enjoy doing is I used to love to run. Man, there was nothing to run 5 miles. But see, as I mentioned on my little update video I put out before this one, so you guys only see me from the torso up. And the camera doesn't really show. Look, I'm 6'2" and a half, 235 pounds solid. There was a time where you could have carved me out like a you know. I'm not, and I'm saying this with all modesty. I was. I remember when there was a time where mind, body, spirit meant something for me. I knew that, and that was in my 20s. I wasn't the cat out there on the block like that. But when I got into my 20s, I just threw everything out the window. I did. I was a late bloomer on a lot of things. And I think a lot of that had to do with my, my ideology, my perceptions, because a lot of stuff I had to discover on my own. This is not shade to my family, but I thank God that everything that I've been exposed to, embraced, the good, the bad, the indifferent, these are all the makings of who I am as a man. And ladies, I know society hasn't been too kind in regards to giving examples of what a good dude looked like. And definitely hasn't when it comes to someone that truly embraces their spirituality. That's why I tell everybody there's so much distraction that is going on in our society because on one hand, you got a lot of people that go to church, right? Doing heinous things. And then you got some people that want to fellowship, but are afraid to fellowship because of the examples of the few. But this is a thing that a lot of people overlook. There's a difference between being religious and being spiritual. Let me make that clear. See, the word religious means pattern. For example, you can say, Gerald religiously smokes a cigarette when he's on YouTube. That's a statement. That's a fact. But being spiritual means you have a connection of self, but by way of your divine influence. We focus too much on dogma. Well, my ideology says you can't do this, and my ideology says you can't do that. None of that matters if you don't have a connection with yourself first. That is the true illustration of what intimacy is, because you learn that through your connection with your higher power. And when you truly have that connection, guess what? Fear goes right out the window. Common sense does not. Because, what did God say? I require faith of a mustard seed. And I'm a firm believer that if you place God first in everything you do, who can stop you? Especially if it comes from a pure place. But it's not going to be easy. You're going to be tested. You're going to be chastised. But the key is keep your eyes on the prize. The prize is that your dreams become a reality, y'all. That's the end goal, to have a happy life. You're not supposed to be waking up every morning with a bunch of BS going on. Some of y'all can't even go to sleep at night without sleeping with one eye open, like, okay, what's going on? You worrying about who's looking over your shoulder, what you said, who you was with, and how it was done. What's required is you stop running. Because until you make a decision to stop running, and the person you're running from is you. That means you're going to have to get out of your own way. And that's another reason why, queens, tell the truth. You lost faith in men because they're not playing their position. Come on now, tell the truth. The end, all you ever wanted was to feel emotionally safe. But all you've been shown is what not to be, what to be fearful of. And the reason for that is God never asked you to go and find your man. He told you to prepare for him. And the only way you're going to have that aspect, because see, the person that you're destined to be, and see, I just got a reminder before I came on. And I've lost track of reiterating this in my channel. But I'm going to bring it back because I know that somebody needs to hear this. You're not who you were. You're not who you are yesterday. That person who you were over your shoulder, your past, that's not who you are. Let me make that clear. Because if that was who you are, you'd be there right there. That would be your reality. So with that being said, the person that you're destined to be, you know, that person has done the work. They're relying on you to make the decisions that are needed. So let me break it down again. The person who you are today is not the person you were yesterday, but the person that you're going to be is relying on the decisions you make today. So that might mean you might have to tighten up your boots. That might mean you might have to put on your big girl panties. That might mean you may finally have to open up while you're walking around with a chip on your shoulder. But the reality is because your communication skills is blocking your heart. Who am I talking to? How is anybody going to understand you if you do not convey what needs to be understood? Ain't nobody no mind readers. Nobody's no mind reader. Maybe this is the moment that you're going to finally get out of your way and say, you know what? I need to better myself economically. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that, I'm going to have to make some concessions in my life. And I'm going to have to go back to school. Maybe you're in that position where your skills are not sharpened enough and you might have to take some classes at night. Who am I talking to? Maybe your comprehension skills are not on point and you need a refresher. You realize how many people dreams get hijacked because they put their pride in front of it? And you know what happens to those people? They become the people that are in the cheap seats, that always got excuses, but ain't got no effort. Always pointing fingers, but not looking at the fingers that are looking back. If you don't like your reality, change your reality. And the only way you're going to change reality is you got to invest in that beautiful mind. Change your mind, change your view. As simple as that. But you're not going to hear this on the boob tube. Because guess what? The longer that you choose not to, they benefiting off of your pain. And they also look at you as not a threat. They also know that you ain't going nowhere. Who am I talking to? So this brings me to why I'm putting this video out, because I got this feeling somebody has got a important decision to make, and you've been tossing and turning, and you've been weighing it, but you got this you got this mindset as like, well, I got to convince myself before I can move my feet. You know, you got a good lip service to tell everybody what you want, but you ain't sold it to yourself yet. Well, let me ask you this. If you didn't need it, why are you thinking about it? If it didn't have any value, why are you tossing and turning over it? Or better yet, why does it even matter? Why does it matter? But you know that a whole lot of stuff is reliant on that decision. You may have gotten to a point that it actually has impacted your habits, your sleep patterns. Ain't resting enough, huh, are you? And don't even go looking at medicine cabinet, because nothing in that medicine cabinet is going to take away what's going on inside you. Who am I talking to? You think that's living? You actually think that's living? And guess what? Picking up that phone, calling people that you always call on, all they're going to do is tell you what you want to hear. But guess what? They ain't growing either. And since they ain't growing, they ain't going. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason why they trying to say, well, it's all right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're good the way you are. But if you're good the way you are, wouldn't you have the life that you desire? I got this feeling somebody's saying, I can't go through this no more. Or you don't get me. I'm tired. You ain't tired because you're still there. You're still there. And you're going to stay there till you talk to that little girl inside you. Till you recognize that little boy in that mirror. You're going to stay the status quo. And that's such a disservice. Such a disservice, because you putting your environment in front of your heart. You may be looking at a breakthrough by way of a job opportunity, but that job opportunity has certain concessions, and you are convincing yourself that I'm gonna just dumb down and pass that by. Don't you realize that might be your breakthrough? Why are you running over there to get their cosign when it's you going to do the work? You think they're going to actually support you on that? Look at their track record. They still doing the same thing they was doing from the first holo. And they comfortable in that. Why? Because they got you. But the moment that you act out of pocket or don't do what they ask you to do, they get brand new on you, don't they? I'm giving you transparency because I know what's in your heart. But you're gonna be okay. Because you know a decision has to be made. And to do that, that means you got to claim your life. At a minimum. Maybe this is the motivation that you need to talk to you. When's that last time you had a conversation with your heart? When's that last time you had a conversation with God? Why don't you ask him to give you validation? But when he give it to you, don't act like you ain't see it. Because you're going to know. And that same thing applies that if it's something the devil does. The devil loves to use beauty. He loves to use sparkly things. Who am I talking to? He loves to lure you from you because that might be the setup for your demise. I'm just saying. But if that decision, every time you think about it, you get a calmness about yourself. You feel a peace about yourself. Your breathing gets a little more easier when you think about it. Don't you think that's something you should invest in? I already put a video out before this one, letting y'all know. If y'all didn't know, I'm serious about my health regimen. And I'm saying this with all sincerity because, see, the man that I am destined to be, he's smiling. He's already said, it's time to claim you, brother. We got blessings right here. Come on. Come on now. Now, don't think I'm not going to be a little nervous about it because there are going to be some concessions I have to make. There are going to be some sacrifices I'm going to have to give. This is one of them. So I'm enjoying these last 2 weeks while I got them because I'm not walking in 2017 as a nicotine fiend. And it's not going to be easy. It's not. But haven't you noticed anything that's worth anything? You're going to have some kickback. You're going to have some pushback. But as you grow, you're going to go. That's meant for you. Because guess what? You write your story. Nobody can write your story. It's you. So while you're running after her, you might need to ground your feet because she might be the one that'll set you back. While you worried about what he doing. Maybe you're supposed to be planting seeds because where you're going, they can't go. What's your heart tell you? That's why I tell everybody. If you place God first in everything you do, you can't go wrong. Because guess what? God is love, and love don't hurt. If you think you've outgrown your job, why don't you have the courage to claim the next one? Only you can make the reality change. Why are you calling your stick man up asking him, what should I do? It's your life. And maybe he don't want you to grow. All you got to do is look in the environment and see how much change he's done. Because the people that are in our lives are a reflection of what's found inside us. Who am I talking to? You're not supposed to be walking around suffering. You're not supposed to be walking around chasing after anybody anyway. You're supposed to be happy. But if you don't put no effort in it, that's exactly what you're going to get back. And life and time doesn't wait for nobody. So if your money ain't right, do what's required to stack it. Because what has those excuses got you? You got to be real with yourself. You got to claim your life. And stop running from it. And don't worry about them people. They're going to criticize. They're going to try to talk you off your direction. But guess what? That's what they do. They want to keep you there. So as time goes by, then you'll end up being like them. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That ain't your story. It never was. So you got to make a decision. Because trust and believe, there are people right now at this moment, not to take away from what I'm going to drop for the 2017 video, but there are people that have already made decisions and have been waiting this time out because they know that when 2017 begins, that connection ends. Takes courage. Why are you going to be with somebody that brings you pain? That's why I tell you, queens, stop going out there looking for your man. Because the only thing you're going to find, you're not going to find Mr. Right. You're going to find Mr. Right now. And he don't have no problem holding you back. But just know, the one, oh, that's a spiritual man. Oh, yes. And he's going to supply you with everything you need, especially the key that unlocks your heart, which also unlocks the other side of your life. You think Mr. Right now going to do that? Nope. Well, he'll gladly pull them panties off, though. Who am I talking to? He's quick to say, well, you know what? I want you to try this. How about that? Well, be the example. Anybody can give inspiration, but if you ain't the example, what's the point of the inspiration? That ain't an inspiration, that's a distraction. I ain't got to tell you. You already know what you lack. So the question is, what are you going to do? You going to claim you, or you going to be like them? Because when it boils down to it, y'all, you're going to see as you go through this journey called your life, you're going to be faced with challenges of people that look just like you. You might be even related to them, but secretly, they despised you. They were envious of you. And they didn't even see the worth to tell the truth. Your life ain't the Discovery Channel. It's not. But as long as you keep your ear to what they doing, they winning. Because they know that you ain't focusing on you. And let's throw this out there too. If they truly, genuinely cared about you, why does it hurt? Why does it feel like you're lacking? Why are you making excuses for them? Because guess what? They're going to be your mirror. That's why you hear people say, as it's in the scriptures, people come into your life for a season or a reason. But truthfully, it's to educate your mind, body, and spirit by way of illustration if they're a lesson or a blessing. That's why everything comes full circle. You think that thing that nobody knew about was just going to fade away? Oh, no, no, no. You got to atone for that. Because as long as you let life have its own way, you ain't going to be living it. You won't. I'm just keeping it 100. That's why you may have seen this in your finances. Soon as you get it, soon as you lose it. And the problems keep mounting up. Let me tell you something too. Do you actually believe the devil ain't got nothing to do with that? Do you actually believe that the devil? Your life is like a spiritual chessboard, y'all. You know those things you shouldn't have done, but you benefited from it? That was to move you from your moral compass. But what you didn't see is, no matter how hard you try to be methodical, maybe hold that secret, was to set you up for that downfall that you didn't think could happen. That's why you hear people say never. You're right. Because the moment that you say no, that's when it comes. But let me change trajectories on this, because some of y'all may have been taking an emotional beating. Some of y'all may have physical scars. It's time to take that pain out. And this does not minimize or discredit what you've gone through. But if you don't love yourself, guess what? You're basically saying it was in vain. That's not your story. So the truth to the matter should be this: who's living your life? Who's directing your story? Who's claiming it? Because if it ain't you, you ain't living it. And that's really sad. That's really sad, because we're all unique and beautiful in our own way. But if you don't know you, how do you know what's value and worth? How do you know what should be garnered as sacred? Sarah's not going to tell you that. Dwayne's not going to show you that. They're going to go off the same opportunist playbook as before. What you don't know will be my game. And until you ground your feet, you'll get more of the same. But they reap what they sow. They always do. And I don't wish bad on anybody, because life should not be filled with pain and sorrow and despair, alienation. No. But you got to be realistic. You got to have hope. You got to have faith. And you have to accept this. Not everybody's going to know your story. Not everybody earns the right to know your middle name. Not everybody is going to have the ability to walk with you. Doesn't matter what they bring to the table. Because if they don't have a relationship with God, if they don't have a relationship with God first, guess what? They don't have a relationship with themselves. And if they don't have a relationship with themselves, they're not going to have a relationship with you. So maybe that's a reason why they're constantly coming and going and have no substance, have nothing to show for it. Maybe that's the reason why they got control issues. They got no issue trying to control you. Maybe that's the reason why they're impulsive. Oh, she's the fun girl. No, she lost. And if she don't get it together, she's gonna be like the Whispers, Olivia, lost and turned out. That's not your story. But if that's the walk that you've been on, guess what? That was yesterday. That ain't who you are. And the moment that you finally give yourself the concession to finally love you, the person you blessed to be will have a story to tell. And maybe that story is going to give insight to those who are going to come behind you. But you got people that have this mindset of, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Pressure busts the pipe. But there's no life when it comes to things that are stagnant. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. And I know some of y'all have this mindset of, if I don't see it, it ain't real. Or tell me that, or remind yourself the next time you get that pain, because you can't see pain, but you damn sure can feel it. Be blessed.